This time on Woody's Garage. The dirty Sanchez still smells like brown 25.
Okay, today we have the shifter drum right here. I'm in my studio because it's kind of cold in the basement. I didn't feel like working on it out there. And this thing I don't think it's definitely not clean. Every time you do that, you see all this ugly, greasy crap that says, I'm not clean. So we're going to take it apart. What it's got, I've never taken one of these apart before, so I'm not trying to be an expert by any means. It's got these pins. And here's one, and this one already looks kind of mangled. Oh, I should say these are clips that hold in pins. And there's one here, and then the pin is here. Yeah, this one's all friggin' mangled. They're not supposed to look like this. I do not believe. I see. The reason I was having a heck of a time pulling them out is because I was pulling them out backwards. They come out of the back here. Yep, pop that out. That's what it looks like. And then, I guess you kind of give it a wrap. Tap on it so that this pin will drop out. Might take more than that to get it out. So we're going to get the other clip out, which is right here. Hopefully I didn't mangle this one too much. Get out of here. Yeah. Maybe if I push on it outside here. Yeah, I got it. That clip doesn't look too bad either. So, these pins now both have to come out, and they supposedly just drop out, but the way everything's so cruddy in this engine, it's probably going to take some tapping to get them free. So, I'll show you when I get them out. Okay, back in the shop here. Got it loosened up. Just a little tap this way, a little tap that way, and now this other arm, this is the one that's closest to the drive side of the transmission, moves freely, but we still don't have these damn pins out yet. Do we really need to now? Yeah, I think it would be a good idea. I'd really like to get this nice and clean. So I'm not sure how we're going to get those out of there. I've heated them, you know, tapping a little bit. I don't know what else to do to influence them to come out. Okay, I was about to almost give up on how to get these pins out, and I took my big magnet. They're not out yet, but getting them started. They're out that far. A little bit more, and I can get them out. There's one. You can see the groove they ride in. Good place to trap crud. Look at that. I mean, I never would have gotten that off. This one's marked number 9. This one's also marked number 9. I don't know if they're interchangeable. I want to keep them separate. I still haven't gotten that pin out yet. So I realize, like, showing all this stuff, it's going to be a very, very long video if I go into detail about everything. But I've heated up the kickstart shaft, and I've gotten this gear loose here. I broke the clip on this side. It was just wicked rusted. So, and I took everything else off the shaft. So, yeah, we'll get these clips off, and we'll see if we can clean up this. It's looking better, I mean, the more I work on it. So, that's a good thing. This is still being a bugger. I've got it to move a little tiny bit, so I'm kind of letting it soak. I filled that up with oil, and the oil's gone, so it's definitely penetrated down. Trying to work on this clutch housing a little bit. We got oil all over it. You know, I think oil is the best cleaner. I always have. So you soak it like that for a while, then a brass brush or something like that, and clean it up. But this looked unusable before, and it's looking more and more usable. These clutch plates, I tried to sand a little bit, and mean, yeah, this one doesn't look too bad. This one looks actually like it's a friction disc. It's got so much crap on it, but look at those. I mean, I cleaned those up just for a second, and they look pretty good. Very strange. Okay, there's like 3 C-clips. One there, and I think there's another one at the end. I don't really know why, but they all broke and shattered. But this shaft is now moving. You can hear it's a little resistance. It's probably supposed to be ultra smooth, but will it be usable again? I don't know. Can I just use like Harbor Freight clips? I don't know. If you bought factory ones, they'd probably be more expensive than finding a good used one. I mean a whole kickstart shaft. I don't know, it seems like I keep going in stages of getting the parts cleaner and more usable, and there's lots of stages. And just from, I've cleaned the cases now like 4 times and they still look like crap. And so does everything else. Whoa, I can't believe it. I never thought this would come out. So letting it soak, yeah, it got through the pin, and I just used the magnet again, and it's coming out. I guess, I don't know if I'll be able to get it all the way out right now, but yeah, I can get that out. There it be. Yeah, I dropped it on the ground too, so I just had to go find it. Awesome. Then we get to see the whole shift drum. And this pin is what goes in this channel here to guide the shifter and the gears into place. Pretty neat. So here's the crank I pulled out of it originally, and I think it's better than the crank I got, which I'll show you right now. This is the one I got, and yeah, they didn't show it in the picture, but yeah, this keyway is also kind of wallowed out. There's only a little bit of play in it, you can kind of see it, but that's more than mine has. The end is also kind of mushroom. They didn't say that. I got in touch with the guy. He's saying like, yeah, you can return it. Yeah, it's just like, no, send me a call tag and give me a fucking refund. But I've kind of decided like, maybe I should just hang on to it just in case. It was only 18 bucks, you know. So back to this one. I tried to look up and see if anybody repaired keyways, and I found one on a Suzuki car engine. That a guy, it was a common problem, and that he fixed them with JB Weld, and they hold up as long as, you know, you don't beat the crap out of it, things are torqued, etc. The threads on this aren't too bad, and, you know, I thought this one was completely gone, but you can see where the keyway was, so I know the right position, and you can see kind of like where it would bottom out there. So I think with that as an indication, and if I had the key, I could actually use this. So I think I'm going to take some JB Weld and build this up and smooth it out and leave this as an indication as to where the key goes and try that. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do it today. I don't even think I have any JB Weld. Yum, what's for lunch? Well, we got apple cider vinegar bath going on here with the metal parts. I didn't put any aluminum parts in here because they tend to, aluminum will actually dissolve in acid, so it's not really good for them. That's probably over a prolonged time, but anyway. So, they've been in here for about 16 hours or so. Gonna hit them with like a toothbrush, try to get some loose rust off. Get them out, rinse them off with water, and then hit them with some oil so they don't start rusting again. Okay, the kickstart shaft and the gear shift shaft are out of the acid bath, washed with some like Dawn dish detergent, and lightly oiled, and yeah, they look usable, but they're still pretty cruddy. Far cry from what they used to look like. The clutch housing, which may be the dirtiest part of all, It's been such a buildup in the corners right in here, but it's finally starting to look like it's supposed to look. I mean, I just went around and scraped out what I could. And then I'll, you know, put some oil on it to maybe so it can loosen it up a little more, although it's just about there. And I still got to drill these out. That's what I really fear. That one probably won't be a problem. These other ones are, you know, they broke off at an angle, so it's hard to hit it right in the center. Yeah, clean up the crank. Bearings are moving well. Crank bearings moving well. We've got to concentrate on trying to do the JB weld fix here. Not sure if I have any. Crazy thing is I'm actually thinking I can save these clutch plates. They do look a lot better, but clutch inner still has the one little spring attached to it that I don't dare pull off. I'm glad it's there anyway. Okay, we mixed up a little bit of brown 25.
5 years ago, a team of scientists working at Uranus discovered a unique polyester. It had the rare combination of properties which would make it suitable for reaming, sheeting, molding, and fuel. Among other characteristics, it had the strength of steel, the flexibility of rubber, and the nutritional value of beef stew. Brown 25, another fine product from Uranus.
For our crankshaft repair, smoothed it out with a wet finger. Just spit on your finger and smooth it out a little bit. Helps. We drilled the initial holes for the clutch for these screws, and yeah, as a sharpshooter, I got a 0. Nothing's really on center. A couple of them, because the drill bit kept skating away from the center, I decided to go in from the back and try my luck that way, you know, trying to center the drill bit the best I could. And yeah, it sucks. It's funny, the one that was the cleanest is the most off center. So, I'm not quite sure what to do next. An easy out would be nice, but I don't think I've ever had an easy out ever work for me. Ever. Back on engines that will never run. Well, today's a little bit of a disappointment. I put my first layer of JB weld on. You can see I still left where the keyway would be as an indicator. Yeah, I think this would work, but I took a look at the flywheel again, which I didn't really look at. And the keyway is pretty gooched on this thing. If you can see that, it's as wallowed out as the crank is. They both took some abuse for sure. Yeah, so it means, yeah, maybe I need to get a new mag at the very least. Alright, I've been piddling along at work, not like when I was ripping the engine apart, but this is crank number 2 that I bought off eBay, and I decided to take a chance at making this keyway better. And I just blobbed some JB weld on there. It's dry now, it needs to be filed down. But this one actually looks pretty good. The cases, oh my god, this is what I've spent a lot of time on. I mean, yeah, that's pretty clean compared to how it was. The other cases too. I got the cam chain tensioner out. That was kind of stuck up in there. Gave it some taps from above with the crooked screwdriver, hoping I wouldn't damage it, and it came out and it's not bad. It just needed a little bit of a nudge. I got some carbide Dremel bits, and I reamed out what I had drilled. Some of these were off center, and I was able to kind of get them back on center by using the carbide bits. I'll show you those at some point, I'm sure. It's almost out to the edge. It looks like right now I could actually tap these. and it would chew up what's left of that thin wall. Sometimes also if there's enough sticking up, and unfortunately I filed them down because I wanted to try to get centered on them, you can tap in the edges like this and they kind of fold in on themselves. But I think I'm going to be able to save this horrible thing too. And what I want to do is a kind of a mock setup. I want to put the gears and kickstart, etc., and see how everything turns around and everything. So that's coming up. Right now it's like, yeah, I do a little bit every day, but I'm trying to think as I go along, which is a big deal for me. Okay, this one bearing here felt a little dirty, and I said maybe if I pry out the seal, it'll feel better, and it definitely does. There was dirt behind here. I've actually cleaned the seal. I'm going to clean it a little more. You can see the spring inside there. You don't want to screw that thing up. But I've blown it out with air and gotten lube and stuff in there, and we'll clean it a little more. And this bearing feels really good now, so that's good. And here we've kind of thrown together the kickstart shaft. And we have a couple of washers, you can see them right there, that are not in this assembly. They are that one and that one. Oh, maybe that one. Maybe I have three that are gone. They're just rotted out, but they're like thrust washers, I guess you call them, or like friction washers. They just, you know, take up the friction so that the parts don't wear out like they did. But just for fitting's sake, I think we can put the kickstart shaft in. So I'm guessing this is kind of right. It's got that little weird clip thing that sits in there, and you don't put on the other parts till the case is on. So let's see if we can get the gears in. Once again, this is just, you know, knowledge, you know, seeing if things fit, sort of work. Well, we plunk the transmission in, and things kind of move around. I think there may be a washer, one of those thrust washers that belongs down here, and I never saw one on this engine. I remember looking when I pulled it apart. The kickstart seems to, like, you can kind of see how it works. When you go this way, it engages, but when you go this way, it wants to climb up the gear thing. Although I'm thinking this unit may be just beyond repair. It's just so corroded and stuff like that. The gears, on the other hand, I think these will work. Here's one of those thrust washer things that this side has. I don't know if this one has one over here or not. I'm going to put, I think maybe the crank in there, and we'll put on a side cover. Yeah, the case is on there. No real gap there. Shifter drum, will it turn? I don't know, not like this it won't. Will the gears turn? Yeah, they will. Look, make the kick shaft go, so it probably goes this way, yeah. That's right, then you see the, on this side, the clockwise, so that would turn the rear wheel in the right direction. Yeah, it should be on a tripod or something, but the shift drum does go around, but I don't think it's working quite properly. That could be neutral there. Yeah, just kind of wildly swinging around there. Shows you what I know. But one thing about the shifter drums, it's supposed to be bolted from behind. They're holding it in place, so as you can kind of see, it's moving up and down. Or it was. Yeah, on the other side here, you can see where that bolt goes right in there. And, you know, I got everything in little tiny baggies, and it's really, yeah, I sort of kept it sorted, but not totally, so. It's also really cold down here in this basement. Just touching the metal stuff as my hands are like numb right now. So, I think we may take a break from it.